Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Conversations with JR. I hope all is well with you. It's March 25th, 2026, and guess what? Happy birthday to me. Yes, today I am celebrating my 62nd birthday in all its glory, and I'm just so glad to have been able to make it this far. I am in Puerto Rico. Yes, I left that cold weather in New York City for some sun and some fun. So I hope that you are enjoying yourself today, and I hope the weather wherever you are is very kind to you. While during my celebration, when I go on vacation, it's a time to reflect, relax, recharge, and get some clarity on other areas of my life. And I'm going to talk to you today about a topic that I have been very much concerned about. Now, it's this new phenomenon called self isolation. Or do you already know about this? Did I get the memo late? But I'm hearing about this self isolation that people are talking about. And I started doing some research. So, self isolation is the act of separating from others. Question: is this the same as being alone? Alone is described as an unpleasant emotional response to social isolation, distinct from uh, other things like wanting to have solitude. And being lonely can be experienced even when you are surrounded by others. Now, let's get back to the self isolation because I want you to think about self isolation, being alone, loneliness, protecting peace, and all the other things that people are talking about these days when it comes down to individuals and the choices that they're making. Now, the people that I talk to claim that self isolation is a choice, a means of protecting one's space and mental and emotional health. I have another question for my listeners. I'm going to ask you to deeply reflect on what I am saying to you and how it connects to your life and your situation that you're currently in. Is self isolation the same as protecting your peace that involves setting firm, healthy boundaries, managing your energy, and prioritizing self care to safeguard your mental, emotional, and physical well being? I hope that I'm not confusing you because I am confused. Because all of these sayings are popping up on the internet and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and all these influencers are putting these thoughts out here into people's minds. And then we connect to this by saying, yes, that's me. That's how I feel. That's what I'm doing. But it seems that lately everyone is flaunting self isolation. This scares me. I begin to think about my behavior and lack of social connection and turning down social invitation claiming that I need to be home for my dog. I've developed a habit of preferring to lay on my sofa, playing games on my iPad, ignoring calls or texts. The truth is, I lack the motivation to be around people or travel on public transportation, even on the weekends when I'm not working. I don't read like I used to read or find pleasure in baking muffins, and I love baking muffins. I love baking anything. I don't invite people over because, in my mind, it's too much trouble. And besides, I'm thinking they will take away from my time laying on the sofa, channel surfing, or playing games on my iPad. I feel like it's too much trouble to have company around. And then I started thinking, when did I start feeling this way? When did I start making these choices? Why am I socially disconnecting from people? Having a good social network and support network is good for your mental health. It's good for your emotional health. It helps to relieve your stress. It helps you to take you away from the mundane things that bring us down in life. So, moving on. I was compelled to look up the meaning and the causes for self isolation. Now, this is what AI had to say. Self isolation involves voluntarily or involuntarily staying away from others to avoid either spreading an illness or due to mental health reasons such as depression, anxiety, or past trauma. Well, it's used to protect oneself from physical health. It can lead to loneliness, negative long term impacts on emotional and physical well being. And that's the part that is concerning me. That this choice of self isolation, I know if you're isolating yourself from people because you're sick and you don't want to give them, flu, cold, COVID, whatever it is, okay, that's understandable. But when people are making the choice to self isolate and a long term practice, are you thinking about the impact that it's having on you mentally? Are you thinking about physical impact, emotional impact? Are you thinking about why you are choosing to do this? Now, I wasn't satisfied with this generic AI definition, so I went on a hunt for answers. And I talked to 20 people. I've had conversations with 20 people: male, female, straight, gay, non-binary, married, single, partnership, situationships. I just talked to anybody who wanted to talk to me. And I found out something interesting, that each person had their personal reason for self-isolation. And a few individuals said that they were forced into the practice of self-isolation due to dysfunctional family situations, experienced trauma from relationships, and domestic violence. One person told me that the world has let her down. This was a deep conversation, and I tried to get her to come on the podcast, but she just didn't want to do it. But she said the world had let her down, and the best way she knows how to survive is to be by herself and be for herself. Another young lady shared with me that she was forced into self-isolation due to the pain from divorce. She thought that marriage meant forever until he cheated on her and drained her bank account. And she was left very broken and very traumatized by this action. She said that going back home to her family was a humiliating experience. She since has recovered, but she does tend to self-isolate from individuals, and she's not as outgoing as she used to be. She's not as trusting as she used to be. She's not as open to new experiences as she used to be before these traumatic experiences made her reshape and rethink her life and how she interacts with other people. So then I went even further, and I started talking to the people in the community. Now, I say the community, but I'm going to say the initials. I talked to people in the LGBTQIA community. And they told me that they tend to self-isolate due to their chosen identity or non-identity and who they love. I was told that the people in the community prefer to stay within the community of people who they know that they can trust. The conversations that I had with people were interesting and eye-opening because everybody had a reason for self-isolation. I live in New York City. Millions and millions of people. So many cultural backgrounds. backgrounds and religions and practices, so many things to engage yourself with and engulf yourself in. But yet people tend to stay within the communities where they feel safe. That's the thing that I kept hearing over and over. Trust, safety. People who have experienced traumatic experiences that led them to this self-isolation. And it just boggled my mind. You know, the conversations were engaging, but also opened my eyes to other things. You know, I didn't realize that what people were doing when they congregate, in certain areas. We have Chinatown, Little Italy. We have Spanish Harlem, El Barrio. We have Little Dominican Republic. We have a little Odessa where the Russian people are, and Little Caribbean in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. And I can go on and on and on. And I understand that people want to congregate towards the people that they know, where they can socially identify, culturally identify, and again, where they feel safe, where they feel that they can trust people. And venturing outside of that world, venturing outside, for them, the people that I talk to, it's a dangerous situation. The point is that I live in a city that never sleeps. New York City, the Big Apple. It's a densely populated metropolis that serves as a significant economic and political cultural hub. This is a city that Frank Sinatra made a song about and Alicia Keys wrote about. This is a city where Lady Liberty stands strong, beckoning, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. This is a city, New York City, where Ken Burns, who is the master of documentaries, dedicated a documentary to the history of New York City. I look at that documentary over and over because it's so nostalgic. And how this place was built and who built these people. And they didn't do it through self-isolation. I am sorry, but I just experienced a moment of nostalgia. So please forgive me if I'm going all in about this. It just hurts me to know that self-isolation is becoming normalized. It is really a separation. People are separating themselves from people, places, and things. I haven't lived everybody's experience. I don't know your story. I don't know your traumatic experience. I don't know your past. But what I do know is that people more and more now are talking about self-isolation, protecting their peace, detaching from family, just all of this detachment. And I know that scars and wounds run deep, and people have their personal reasons or why they are doing what they're doing. But now it seems like more so that we are living in a society where people are shutting themselves in and shutting the world out, and it's causing more mental health problems, it's causing more emotional problems, it's causing people to turn to substance, to turn to alcohol. People are inflicting harm upon themselves because they are lonely, because they just want to have a sense of connection, a sense of belonging. They want to be able to trust. They want to be able to know that someone somewhere has their back. Someone somewhere will come to their rescue. What happened to the long life friendships and those connections? What happened to the family bonding? There's so much division and families and dysfunctionals and fighting and separation because of the haves and the haves not, and it's just so much going on. It just boggles my mind. I understand why people want to protect their peace. I'm one of those people who I don't know if I've been practicing, self-isolation, but I know that I have gotten more and more comfortable with my peace inside my home. And I really venture out, and that's not like me. I lived for the weekends to socially connect with people. But now my social circle is getting smaller and smaller because my tolerance level for people and their drama and their chaos. Everybody wants to burden you and drain you, and they want you to join their fight and their battle. And people just don't have it in them anymore. I chose to protect my peace and social isolate myself or self-isolate because I've had a lot of traumatic experience with relationships, and I'm not pointing no fingers at no past relationships that I have been. I've learned from each and every one of them. I wrote a book called The Waiting Game about my past experiences with relationships and how those relationships shaped me into being the person that I am right now. But I am guarded. I haven't had a relationship like in the last 10 years. I don't go out and date. I don't approach men. I'm scared. I'm very guarded. Why? Because it's the experiences that I have. I don't lump all men in the same category. Everybody shouldn't do that. But in my mind, I feel like if I venture out again, if I trust again, and I would love to have some companions, especially at my age, at 62. As you get older, relationships mean something different. I miss the camaraderie. I miss the companionship. I miss the intimacy. I miss the joy of just having someone there to talk to. I'm traveling now, and if my BFF is not available to go with me, I travel alone, and I don't mind that because I'm going to see the world and I'm going to see what's out there for me. But I'm saying this to you and I'm sharing this to you because now I'm beginning to deeply understand through my life experiences why people are deciding to isolate, to self-isolate. And it has a lot to do with protection. It has a lot to do with people being fragile, people being fearful, people not being able to trust. The experiences that they have gone through with other people is a reflection of, their life today. And I think that it is just very heartbreaking. I think that it is very sad that we are now living in a society that someone would just even say hello to you and you think that person has an ulterior motive for approaching you. Out of all the people that they can approach, why are they approaching you? What it is that they want? Those 1,000 questions start developing in your head. Like, what do they want? What are they going to do to me? And then you put up the barriers. The barriers are already up, but then you put up more and more and more. And it's harder for people to understand who's for them, who's against them, who can I rely on, who can I trust. Who can I take them at their word? And as I go deeper and deeper into self-reflection of this phenomena of self-isolation, it's really, really getting harder and harder, more difficult now in this world to understand that we are now going to be living in a times where people are just not connecting in person, physically. I like physical connection. All this texting and Snapchatting and video calling, that's good. But that's still a way to keep people at a distance. And that's what people are doing. They're choosing to keep people at a distance. People are longing for connections. I know that they are. Everybody wants to be loved authentically. People want that physical and that intimate connection. No one is was created to be on this earth alone, by themselves, battling through life by themselves. But here we are. We find ourselves in these situations. This is Conversations with JR. And I have brought this subject, this topic to you today because for the ones who are listening, I want you to, reflect about what's going on in your life. Protecting your peace is fine. It's one of the greatest things that you can do for yourself. But have we taken this protecting our peace too far? Protecting your mental health, yes, that is a priority. Protecting your emotional stability, that should be a priority. But all these things that we are protecting and that we are shielding and that we are doing, it's a result of leaving us alone, lonely, in a panic state. We always have to have our guards up. We always have to be vigilant. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of living that way. I'm really very tired of living that way. But until people change, until society change, until people change their behavior and stop all this conning and lying and scheming and having alternative motive and using people and degrading people and disrespecting people, draining people, and bringing all this trauma and chaos into other people's lives, this is what we have. Protecting our peace, self-isolation, protecting our mental health, protecting our emotional health, building cages around us. And I'm telling you right now, from my experience, from my self-experience, it's not a good place to be. This is Conversations with JR. I am hoping that you will listen to this, you will share it with others, and you will reflect on your life and other people's lives and start having a conversation about protecting your peace and self-isolation and what brought you to that level. I'm not saying that you should not guard your mind, guard your heart, guard your finances, guard your family, guard your soul and your spirit. But I am saying that there are millions of people out there that are experiencing this, and you are not alone. I developed this platform because my motto is healing people through a single conversation. And I'm hoping that this single conversation will make a difference in your life. I thank you for listening. Until the next time.